It's a beautiful Wednesday morning in Lagos. You're welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukudi. Begin with the front pages of the paper, starting off with Vanguard this morning. Vanguard is leading with anxiety as ex-depot petrol price rises to 490 naira per litre. The rider says the retail price rises to 550 naira. Major marketers lift at 446.57 naira per litre. Regulator unavailable at filling stations. PMS now for the rich. That's come from NLC. The regulation drives change in price, and that's come from Ipman. We are still far from deregulation, and that's come from Professor Ilidari. We can see a photo story showing EGBETOKUN decorated acting IGP. Presidential poll: Tinubu opens defense June 30th. Atiku will be closed cases Friday. And stories above, we have a confab committed to press freedom, defense of democracy, and that's come from editors. NGE, NDLEA General Ogunewe are retired. Porter Novelli congratulates Ezeanaba. Why we oppose Nnamdi Kanu's request for access to his medical records, and that's coming from DSS. I feel like Tiger, ready to devour criminals. That's come from acting IGP Egbetokun. EFCC releases ex-Governor Ortom after 10 hours grilling. 6,221 Nigerian doctors lost to UK in 6 years, says International College of Surgeons. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, we have value of federal government bonds down by 93.2% to 183 billion naira. Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with digital switchover falters. 29 states remain on analog. You can read that story on page 6. Shore spends 40 million naira on presidential poll, challenges APC orders to declare campaign expenses. PEPC, Atiku Abubakar PDP to close case against Tinubu's election Thursday. Shetima decorates acting IGP Egbetokun. EFCC quizzes ex-Benue Governor Ortom over alleged misappropriation. Court fixes July 13 for judgment in Emefiele's suit against federal government. Stories above. Dollar trades at discount against Naira in black markets. Lastly, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria, foreign airlines won Ethiopia over $95 million stock fund. Consequences. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with new service chiefs. 100 military generals may be retired. The writer says retirement guilt to hit Army, Air Force, Navy cause 37. Others may be affected. Shetima decorates acting IG Egbetokun as Baba backs a successor to succeed. Emefiele's detention backed by court order, says DSS. Flood sacks residents from Ogun community. You can see that on pages 4 and 5. PDP holds reconciliation parley. Wike orders absent. Stories above. Federal government votes 24 billion naira for 10th National Assembly members' accommodation. Naira closes 756 to a dollar as trading rises at official window. Lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have state external debt rises to 3 trillion naira, and that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining, it's still Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukudi, and joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the paper is Mr. Gbenro Olajigbe. He's the Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. All right, thank you, Mr. Gbenro, for joining us this morning. Let's take it up from here. And of course, as of yesterday, there was palpable anxiety following a rise in the ex-depot price of petrol as some independent marketers were selling above 488 naira per litre in Lagos. In all of this, we haven't seen regulators monitoring and even enforcing sanctions against defaulters. What are your thoughts on this?
Means that you need more naira to buy dollars, and invariably that is going to impact on the price of imported materials, particularly the fuel we are talking about. And aside from that, Nigerian business people are always, they are equally shallow. So they take advantage of anything. And I have said it for the umpteenth time. This thing is not going to, there is no way, there is no day you can quote me anywhere that the poor will benefit from this regime of removal of fuel subsidy until Nigeria begins to produce fuel and dispense fuel at home and stop importation of fuel. There is no time Nigeria is going to benefit from it. And the consequence of it is that it's going to impact on other products. Because of basic materials will go up. Because of food items and even non-food items, the prices will go up, and and you continue to see gallop inflation across board on all items that you buy in the market. So it's not going to get better, because the price, the international price of crude oil is going up. So it's not going to get better. And that is why I've said that what we have is not, in actual fact, removal of subsidy. It's shifting the burden of payment to ordinary people on the street. That is what is going on now, and not removal of any subsidy. Because fuel, as far as Nigeria transportation system is concerned, is very, very critical to the whole gamut of our economy. Because it's going to affect all other prices of things, of items, of transportation. And the implication of that is that the cost of living will go up, while the standard of living will come down. Disposable income will be shrunk. There will be a few money to spend on other necessary food because of this situation. Many Nigerians will be under grave undertaking, yoke that they didn't bargain for while electing a government. And let no one deceive you. It's not going to affect the rich as they have been. That is outright propaganda. It's going to affect the poor more. Even if the rich have 10 cars, what they will do is to adjust by driving 2 or 3 of them. But the poor has none. He has to pay transportation costs. So those are the implications. That is the challenge we should face. And government was very, very thoughtless in terms of removing it at this particular time without putting measures on the ground to ameliorate it. So that is the challenge we have now, and that is the stage we have now. So if you allow price to determine the, and we are just counting the physical costs. There are social costs that will be too much for Nigeria to bear. Costs like there will be hike in conflict, in friction among people, in conflict, in criminalities, in crimes. They are going to spike up because of this. When people are unable to live or exist or access basic needs because of the prices, so there will be the crime rate will go up. And now that the implication of that is that even government will spend much more money to fight crime. So is that a productive economy to stabilize the nation? Because the relative peace is likely going to be disrupted. So the process will lead to a situation where a lot of people will fall out of social norm. They become antisocial, and they become opposing to society that they feel that is pushing them out. And the consequence of that is that they are likely going to fight back at that society, and that is why you see the gamut of anti-establishment behavior, antisocial behavior, and exacerbation of formation of subculture, particularly subculture that defer to criminalities. All right. So those are social consequences of the action that has not been addressed, and that is not likely going to be addressed, outside the fact that government will now spend much money in combating crime, addressing issue of friction and conflict, and that is not good for society. So it's not about handing money, but even if you hand money, where is the money going to go into? Is it going into development? Is it going into production? It's not going to go there. You are going to use it to manage the consequential implication of this policy, which is social dislocation that this new price regime has created.
All right, organized labor, have reacted and they said they are creating alternatives. But then again, we've seen what the meeting on the 19th rather, between labor and federal government saying that we need to give them 8 weeks, to trash out issues and implement resolutions. How do you respond?
Did the government give 8 weeks before bringing out the policy? If you are not prepared for a policy and you are bringing it out, look, when you want to do a policy, it's not about coming and begin to do as if you are a champion and drop a policy that you know has extreme consequential implication for the people. How you do it is that you need to look before you drop the policy. How do you manage the consequences of this policy? That was not done. And you said they should give you 8 months, give you 2 months, give you whatever months. Did you give people that month? So it was untimely done, and the disruption is already get there. Even the ordinary people who didn't know the implication are getting the knowledge of it now. That is not that it's going to go like that. This is economy that has been brought down in the last 8 years, and you came in, you created another disruption that is negative in content, that is going to be negatively impacting to the ordinary people, particularly the poor who have been shrunk by the economy in the last 8 years. So there's no break for the suffering. It has started, and the child lock in the oil sector, we equally take their own pound of flesh by imposing regime of price that is unacceptable, that is outrageous, and that people cannot cope with, because they are not even in control of the price. And this is the product, the annoying part of it, this is the product we produce and that we export. And we are suffering because of it. No oil producing country, and I repeat, across the world that is suffering of this consequence that we have. Nigeria should be rejoicing now, because oil producing nations are making more money, while we continue to see suffering, continue to see agony, continue to see unleashment of economic of insanity upon the hapless people of Nigeria.
Already, we know the high price of petrol have started affecting activities in other sectors, and we're hearing about the proposed increase in electricity tariff from July the 1st. How exactly do you think that the government can actually tackle this energy crisis and find a lasting solution for Nigerians?
You have no thinking government. All they know is that they put in price regime because they think they have money. Have they reduced the cost of governance? As the president is sitting down with Labour, is sitting down, as he sat down with those in the National Assembly, with those in judiciary, and not to bring the price or the cost of governance down. So even if, assuming without conceding, even if you make gains from this new pricing of petroleum, the regulated pricing of prices of petroleum products, where are you going to spend it? It's still on the gluttony of the rich and the powerful, who feed on government, and their allies, who are contractors, who get contracts without performing them. They are going to go into this corruptive system, so they are not going to impact on the economy. Let nobody deceive you. That is the basic part. The energy crisis in Nigeria. Look, is it not thoughtless that you will just the price of petrol has just been increased in July, from July 1. You want to increase that of electricity. How does company even survive that? Do you know the unemployment rate in Nigeria? Unemployment rate is climbing to almost 40%. And that means that more companies will be shut down and more people will be thrown into labor market. Those are the implications of tariff, electricity tariff, when you combine it with the agony that is already going on in the petroleum sector. So it's an attempt to whether to kill the citizen. I don't know how to put this, because it's too much for people to be bearing this. It's too much for government to unleash this on people. It's not going to end anywhere. Let anybody be. Some people can be masturbating because of a policy that is coming up because of change of government and everything. But it's not going to the end result is not going to be palatable if it is not properly managed. And we have not seen a demonstration of proper management of the consequences of all these things that is coming up now. Right. They are very bad policy, extreme in content, and unacceptable in conduct. At the same time, you don't have environment that is the environment is neither adaptable to it nor even adoptable of it at this current stage, when the minimum income in Nigeria is still 30,000 naira. So it's terrible and tragic that you have a new government that is perpetrating this in name of policy, and people are dancing. Even the poor are dancing to the drum of the thoughtless policy that is not timely, that is not desirable now, that is not conducive now, that is not adaptable now to the environment, that to the policy environment.
Now, the president on June the 30th opened his defense to all the petitions seeking to sack him from office, as all the petitioners will close their case by Friday. And yesterday, we got a report that Amazon had come out to say that that's Amazon Web Service Incorporated said that there was no technical glitch on February 28th. Also, these same petitioners have, accused INEC of not giving them electoral documents to back up their claim in court. How do you respond to this?
Yeah, I think the case is time bound. You can't extend the case. The case is time bound. People, what I was expecting is that for INEC to have cooperated with those who are in tribunal, because these things are not rocket science. You conducted the election, and your claim is that the election you conducted was free and fair, and people are contesting that election. The simple thing to do at that particular time is to make available for those who disagree with the result of the election that you have conducted, to give them evidence, to not what they can use as evidence in terms of the papers requested from you, the assessment of those of your result and everything. The cooperation should have been done, and at the level of the tribunal, they ought to have asked them to front load all this evidence. And I don't know, this is the way we handle this is the way our justice administration system run in Nigeria, that is making people to be afraid of going to court. So the most thing now, if people are cheated, you ask them to go to court because you feel that they are not likely going to get justice there. So when you encumber people who are seeking for justice with realistic proposition, that means that you are frustrating even the outcome of what will become the judgment of the court, of the tribunal at that particular time. The minimum thing that was expected is that cooperation will be granted and that people will be allowed to access INEC documents and use them as evidence of their claim of on fair election. So those are the expectations, and we are falling short of such expectation.
All right, moving on, yesterday, the acting IGP Egbertokun said he feels like a tiger ready to chase away all criminals in the country. What are your thoughts on the appointment of the new service chiefs, and what are your expectations as well?
Well, what I will say is that the appointment was balancedly done, in the sense that balancingly done. That is, it reflected federal character and everything. And I don't praise people for making appointments until they begin to deliver results. So I don't praise people for even any activity until those activities become subjects of a productive subject matter. So for Egbetokun, who is saying that he's feeling like tiger and feeling like lion, well, when he was a commissioner of police, why should he just feel like that now? He has been part of the system. He should have, his tigritude should have been made available to others before him so that they could achieve half of the result that is proposing that he will achieve, because he's now a tiger and he has a mind of a tiger and heart of a lion to confront criminality. We pray that all of them succeed, but then it is not time to boast. I don't live by word of any Nigerian public servant or politician now. We want to see the action. That is what we are waiting for, and not for people to be boasting that they are lion, they are tiger and everything. Before you know it, I want a delivery that will reduce the content of how people are being killed extrajudicially in this country, how human rights has been violated even by the police, by the conduct of police, how the behavior of police has been abysmal in these last few years. So we want to see change on that. Police police organization that respect human rights, that appreciate the fact that citizens have right to their own opinion, to their own heart, and they must be civilly, they must be treated with all civility. And at the same time, I need a police force that is not corrupt, because corruption has affected police and has destroyed the image of police. How they are going to refurbish that image and make them to be a friend of the people, as they often as it often call itself. It's another that should be the problem of Egbetokun, and not only the problem of the tiger. His home should be should be put in order first, so that you have a police that is dependable, police that is reliable, police that is dynamic and can deliver results to the people of Nigeria in form of crime reduction, in form of exterminating criminalities, and in form of creating a society that is truly law-abiding, truly law that is a police that is truly enforcing right law justly and without differing to order. And also, I want to see a police that is not a back carriers to politicians. Police that guides criminals, the so-called people that are outrightly criminals. So we don't want police that is that is transactional. That a police that is like Pella said, that the IG has become managing director, and ordinary police on the street are mere bank workers or bank managers. So we don't want such police again. We want a new, improved, dynamic, and focused police force that will contribute to law and order in Nigeria.
All right, moving on, let's talk about this. The EFCC released the former Governor Ortom after grilling him for about 10 hours. And according to reports, he was invited by the commission to answer allegations relating to his 8 years of stewardship as governor. How do you react to this?
I think it's good if they feel that EFCC have the right to invite anybody, particularly those who have occupied public offices, if they have indicators of malfeasance. So they can, authors should not be the only one. Many of them should go into interrogation, because we have seen what have gone, how governors have become emperor in Nigeria, how they have been financially unaccountable, administratively non-transparent. We have seen that, and they deserve to be probed, particularly during the time they occupy office. There's nothing strange in what EFCC is doing. It should extend the tentacle, and that should be done fearlessly. But my challenge is that at the end of the day, everything becomes showmanship. What you call fury of noise, signifying nothing. At the end of the day, nothing comes out of most of this investigation because of the political exposure of those who manage EFCC and the political and those who breathe down on them when they are in political offices.
All right, so let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. before we go. And Mrs. is speaking this morning. Says you can't afford the washing machine that dries clothes as well. So you expect me to dry clothes in the sun in this modern era? Tell me, what do you call that? And Mr. says solar.
That is apt and is correct. Is solar is particularly at this type when we are talking of cost of living. You need to cut a lot of things. If you have washing machine, it has implication for energy. The price of energy is going up. There will be price of electricity going up. So even if you have machine, when you wash your clothes, that means that you are doing exercise. You are not stressing yourself. You are equally getting healthier than usual, and at the same time, things will get better. There is time for everything. The time will come when the solar energy that the husband is using as a alibi will no longer be tenable, because prosperity will locate those families and equally all other families that are going through one stress or the other now.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Gbenrolaji Igbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you very much.
Remember to equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find out today's stories, go to our website, www.vanguardindia.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi.